Security experts have called for the utilization of a different approach to confront the numerous security challenges facing the country. They make this known during a two-day national security dialogue on setting priorities for peace, security and stability held in Abuja, the nation's capital. Edeke Emmanuel reports.
The event, which was the second of its kind, was an opportunity for stakeholders in the security sector to brainstorm and make recommendations to address the different layers of insecurity across the country. Organizers say the recommendations made will provide information on where the priority areas are and give impetus to the implementation of these suggestions.
We've had quite a couple of dialogues, and I think as many speakers have acknowledged that they hope this is not just a talk shop. We give strong assurances that this is not just another dialogue. This stability dialogue, which is focused on setting priorities for peace, stability, and security, is one that brings all the key stakeholders together. But more importantly, we want to, through these conversations, identify what the key priorities are for taking stability, for enhancing stability, and also for ensuring security in Nigeria. But it won't stop there. At the end of this workshop, we will be developing a strategic guidance, a kind of priority document that we now use as an advocacy tool to engage with all the key institutions and decision makers as priorities that have emerged from a broad stakeholder conversation. You can see in the room we have community level representatives, we have an array of representatives from the federal and state governments, and we hope that these conversations will help us to set priorities that enable us engage to see how in practical terms we can take this forward. There's a recognition that collaboration is key, but how would that happen in practical terms? That is what the challenge of this dialogue is. So at the end of it, we'll see how we can establish like a coordinated platform for engagement and then set up a system where we monitor progress on what we are doing and then how these priorities are actually being taken up at the decision-making level. I think the challenges are a broad range of factors that we need to look at in a very granular way. There are development challenges, there are governance challenges, there are challenges related to politics, there are challenges related to climate change and environment. And so we are looking at this from a human security perspective, looking at a broad range of challenges that have contributed to the rising insecurity. We're talking about justice, we're talking about civil-military cooperation, we're talking about what's happening to the economy, how is the level of employment impacting on all of these and radicalization, what is happening to our politics, how inclusive are people in different climes. So when you talk stability, you are looking at all these broad range of factors, and we try to factor in all of these into these conversations, including the role of women in peace-building efforts. So the Women, Peace and Security agenda that we set here is actually meant to highlight the role of women in all of these. What sort of justice will be most effective? But ultimately, how can we ensure that security efforts, peace-building efforts, all come together to deliver the kind of effect that we want to see in Nigeria?
I think the uniqueness is really just the fact that the National Stability Dialogue is very inclusive, that is one. Two, this is a genuinely collaborative platform. That is to say that every agency gathered here is given pride of place. We all have different parts to play in the project of pursuing a sustainable peace. So every agency here is given pride of place. So those two things are what make the National Stability Dialogue very unique. One of the things that I can certainly highlight as progress, we've been able to deepen our partnerships. Indeed, we've been able to forge partnerships where they did not previously exist, especially looking at the local level. A lot of things happening in Nigeria, a lot of the security situations we face are extremely localized. So that means you have to engage with state governments, you have to engage with communities, you have to engage with civil society, and I think what we've been able to do is to really strengthen the partnerships across the levels of government and also with civil society actors as well. The key to implementation lies primarily with the nature, the range of inclusivity that exists. So that is to say, I would argue that I think in previous efforts, the ones you're referring to, we tried to undertake very large projects, but it wasn't inclusive enough. It's like trying to bear a very large burden by yourself. But as you can see from the array of participants in that room, you have a broad range of representation. So this is something that all of us will be doing. It's not just one agency that will be doing it. This is something that all of us will be doing. Government and the non-governmental, federal and state, subnational and national, national and regional. As you can see, we have regional institutions and global institutions present. So that is to say that this is a partnership that is a lot stronger than, I would say, than what we've had in previous times.
The British government restated their commitment to ensuring insecurity is reduced nationally and regionally, says they will continue to partner with the government and other stakeholders in achieving this goal.
We already have a long-standing security and defence partnership, reinforced by shared histories, strong people-to-people links, a track record of development partnership, and of course of trade and investment. And in recent years, we've had a good security and defence dialogue. We've worked together on shared threats, cross-border crime, corruption, and of course, countering terrorism to keep both our peoples safe. We've worked together on improving policing, human rights, and promoting the role of women, all of which are important building blocks for fostering community-based peace building and stability. And of course, we've supported Nigeria's leading efforts to stabilize the Lake Chad Basin and to deal with insecurity in the northeast of this country. One of the commitments that came out of these August visits by my ministers was that the UK and Nigeria will work together on refreshing and renewing our security and defence partnership in the coming months to work together on these domestic and foreign issues. We hope that this dialogue will create opportunities to network and create connections, and that it will help bring Nigeria's broadest security community further together. But more directly, my hopes for the dialogue are that it will help identify strategies that can address the very diverse drivers of insecurity, but with a particular focus on non-kinetic as well as kinetic approaches and strategies. I hope that this dialogue will help better civil, military, and also government and non-government relationships and partnerships.
Edeke Emmanuel, reporting for Development Nigeria TV.